Hi there, this is Ranjit, and in this video I'm going to talk about the budget smart TVs, and even we are seeing a lot of Android certified TVs at a very good budget price. But I'll give you the truth about this one. And in fact, just today morning I tweeted about this and I got a lot of questions from you guys. So couldn't answer them individually on Twitter. So I decided to make a video, and here are all the pointers that I've made that I'll talk about you, so that you have a understanding what is this smart television and what are you going to get on this and what are the things that you won't get into this. And why should you trust me? Because guys, I have owned very high-end televisions like Samsung QLED, and even I have LG OLED, and I have mid-range televisions from Samsung, Panasonic and other brands, as you can see, and I test quite a few televisions. And this is the information generally that you are not going to find on manufacturer's website, but as you're buying a television, I frankly feel you should know about it. So first, let me quickly talk about the different types of LCD panels or the types of televisions that you'll get, and quickly then we'll move to the budget televisions. And if you're going to buy that, be aware of some of the things that you might think that might be there on that, but in reality it won't be there. But again, let's talk about it. And first, let's talk about the LCD panels that are used. And there is a lot of confusion. Many on these boxes it's written as LCD LED TV. So basically it's a LCD TV, guys. It's not a LED TV. The backlighting is LED. So many people get confused that you're buying a LED TV. No, it's not a LED TV. It's basically LCD panel, but the backlighting, the light that is produced, is by LEDs. And the cheapest that you get in the market is TN LCD types, also known as TFT LCD. And I would not personally go with this one, because in that one the viewing angles are simply not that good, and even the color reproduction and other stuffs are not good. So frankly speaking, if you're going with a TV and you see that it's having a TN or a TFT LCD panel, just stay away from it. The second one that we generally see, and we're seeing quite a bit even in TVs that cost around 15 to 20,000 these days, is IPS LCD panels. And actually these are actually really good. The good thing is that the color reproduction on them is very good, and also the viewing angles are actually really good. So if you have a TV in your hall but the seating is people sit here, then it will be great if you go with the IPS panel, because the viewing angles is good. So even a person who's sitting over here will see the picture, it will be good. Even the person sitting over here will have a good picture. Next is the VA type panels, and these actually produce very good black colors, and contrast is actually really good in it. For example, my Samsung QLED TV, which is a very high-end television, is having a VA panel. The blacks produced on them are actually really good. The picture quality is good, the contrast is good. But the problem with the VA panel is that if you sit over here, just here and here, you're viewing the color will be fine, but if you sit from the side, the viewing angles on a VA panel is not that good. But generally I've noticed that VA panels produce much better blacks compared to IPS panel. So I generally like blacks, because in movies we have a lot of dark content. So that is VA panel. The last type of technology used is OLED TVs. This is actually very expensive. For example, we see LG having OLED television, all cost over 2 lakhs. But yeah, so I won't take into account. But yeah, if you want the ultimate, you can go with OLED TVs, but they do cost a lot. Now, also another thing that you have to note is the type of local dimming that is there on these television. Most of these TVs generally have edge lighting, and generally the budget oriented ones won't have any local dimming. So the light cannot be controlled in the dark scenes, and the darks, that's why, are not very dark. But some of the TVs actually now, even in the mid-range we are finding, have local dimming. So these TVs can actually dim the light. Let's say this is a dark scene, it can dim the light in this, so it can produce more darker black. So that is also one more thing. And in higher end TVs, generally we haven't seen this in budget oriented TVs, is backlit full array dimming. So it can manage the lighting a lot better. So that is also an option. But generally that full array backlighting dimming, FLAD that's called, is not generally found in budget television. Also another thing is that you need to know is many of these manufacturers, even in the budget range, are now claiming that the TVs are HDR. Technically it is there, but it's not entirely true, and I'll get to that why. Because basically these TV panels are the panel that they have is in bits. The basic is an 8-bit panel that you'll see on almost every television that is budget. And what do you mean by that? It means that it can produce up to 16.7 million colors. That's good. You can say, yes, it's good enough. But for true HDR, it needs even more colors. And hence, a true HDR TV will actually have a 10-bit panel. That means it can produce up to 1 billion colors. There is also talks about that a 12-bit panel will come out in 2020 that will have 68 billion colors. So generally, these budget-oriented TVs will have 8-bit panel. Don't get worried about it too much. But yeah, in true sense, it's not a proper HDR TV, because true HDR requires a 10-bit panel. But we are seeing some 10-bit panels even with manufacturer. For example, the Xiaomi's Mi TV 55-inch one, not the 49, 55-inch one, is having a 10-bit panel. So that is also one more thing that you have to be aware of. And now let's talk about the joke of HDR that has been going on. HDR means high dynamic range. As you can see, more colors, and even the difference between the peak brightness and the darkness should be there. And these TVs have to produce more brighter images compared to a regular television or HDR. And generally, this HDR standard says that at least a TV should produce about 750 nits to about 1000 nits of brightness for proper HDR. For example, the flagships do that. The LG OLED that I have produces about 750 to 800 nits, and the Samsung QLED TV that I have goes over 1000 actually. But these budget-oriented televisions that do claim to have HDR actually simply cannot go that bright. In fact, normal televisions that you see in the market generally have the brightness, max brightness about 250 to about 350. And though these claim to be having HDR, but it's not true HDR. They go slightly brighter. But again, I don't think so. Most of them go brighter than even 400 nits. So that is also one thing you have to note. And generally, I find here is a big difference between premium brands like, let's say, Sony, LG, Samsung, etc. These, in terms of HDR, have way better performance because they can go 800 nits. Samsung goes above 1000 nits. So that is something, again, you have to note. Again, you won't notice the difference, but if you put the panels side by side, that is something that you have to note. The peak HDR, what's the maximum brightness a TV goes? Generally, most of the manufacturers in the budget range will not give you that figure because they don't want you to know that figure. Also, now moving to HDR, they claim HDR is there, and yeah, most of them actually support HDR if they say, but again, the peak brightness won't be that much in budget oriented televisions compared to premium ones because the panel simply cannot go that bright. That is something you have to note. And also another thing that I've noticed is you won't find support for HDR. Again, has various formats like HDR regular one, HDR10 we have. Now we have even HDR 10 plus that is coming, and we also have Dolby Vision. What I've generally noticed is that most of these panels say that HDR10 is there, but many of them will omit Dolby Vision. Again, Dolby Vision is not free. Again, these TV manufacturers have to take license for that. So again, you generally don't find that one in budget-oriented television. For example, LG TVs have Dolby Vision. Even Sony's have them. But surprisingly, my Samsung one, which is also a very expensive one, simply does not have Dolby Vision because they want to push their own HDR10 or HDR10 Plus in the market. So again, that is also one more thing that you have to note. Again, don't worry too much. Again, on a budget-oriented television, generally you won't find Dolby Vision. Now, coming to another thing is that now you have seen a lot of TVs touting that they are Android certified TV. What do you mean by that? I have actually tested a bunch of Android certified TVs now. For example, the Xiaomi Mi TV Pro, the 55-inch one. There's also one Marquee TV that is lying around right now. I just started testing. That's also Android certified. And also a Falcon TV that I did. So if it's Android certified, what does it mean? Yes, it is running over Android. You have complete support for Google Play support, and you have YouTube app that is certified YouTube app on that. And also many of these TVs actually have voice control. So you can, so in fact, Google Assistant is sort of built in, so you can give voice commands and it works. But again, that doesn't mean that these TVs will have Netflix or Amazon Prime support. That is completely different, guys. And again, even in the Mi TV as of now, Netflix or Amazon Prime is not supported. Even in the Marquee, what I was testing, I haven't seen Netflix and Amazon support directly. And even if you go to the Google Play Store within the TV, you won't find those apps because these apps are not certified for those televisions. You have to actually take licensing and stuff. So it's a complicated thing. That's why to bring it on a budget, they skipped that. And for example, the iFalcon actually had the Netflix app, but it didn't have the Amazon Prime app. So again, that is also something that you have to note. Even though if it's a certified Android smart TV or a smart TV, they claim it might not have Netflix and Amazon Prime. That is very common in budget-oriented smart TVs that we are getting in India. So if you're getting a smart television, don't expect that it'll be preloaded with Netflix or Amazon. Yes, if it's coming from a renowned brand like Samsung, LG, Sony, etc., yes, it'll have, but again, you are paying a premium for that. So I have actually tested quite a few budget-oriented televisions, so-called smart. They didn't have Netflix or Amazon. So what I was doing is I was just using the Amazon Fire Stick and using it with that. Yes, it's not the most convenient thing, but yeah, that's how I felt. Again, you're getting these 4K television for a bargain price. The picture quality is good, but yeah, it skims on Amazon Prime and Netflix. Unless the situation changes, most of this budget-oriented smart television in India are not having preloaded Netflix and Amazon apps. That's the reality, guys. Don't expect that if you're going to buy Android certified TV with Google Assistant voice control, it'll have Netflix and Amazon pre-installed. Many people confuse for that. So guys, anyways, I hope that you found this video helpful. If you again have any specific questions about televisions, do let me know in the comment section below, and I'll try to include them in my future videos, and I'll also try to answer them in the YouTube comments section. I'm actually also testing a couple of Android televisions. I don't want to reveal the names because it's still in the testing procedure. So again, expect those videos in the next coming weeks. And guys, if you're still not subscribed to my YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. This is Ranjit, and I hope to see you in my next video. Take care, guys.